Hello, welcome to More Influence and Impact, the show that unlocks the secrets of success for multi six and seven figure entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Celia Faye Meisel, sales growth consultant, and I'm here to help you tap into the wealth of knowledge, strategies, and experiences from today's most influential industry leaders. Today, I have an amazing, brilliant guest for you. This is Sarah Stokes, owner of the Juicy Good Life. And Sarah is a business breakthrough coach and owner of Juicy Good Life, where she coaches visionary female founders to thrive in their businesses and change the world. She's an award-winning business strategist, a certified Dare to Lead professional, and mastermind certified with Tony Robbins. Sarah's business background includes publishing and selling a women's magazine and running her own global marketing agency. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Celia.
Yes, excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about the Juicy Good Life and what you stand for and what you do in the world.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So I'm so excited. The Juicy Good Life was born out of my own not so juicy good life, right? As a woman building a multiple six and then seven figure set of businesses, life was not juicy. I did not have role models that looked and wanted my life, right? Looked like me or wanted my life. And I burned out multiple times on the road to trying to do it all right. And I thought there has to be a better way. And I was piecing it together, a spiritual journey, right? A health journey, an entrepreneurial journey, a motherhood journey, a wife journey. And I'm like, this is so much, but we're all having to find our own resources. I want to bring this together for female entrepreneurs in a way that's juicy good. So the Juicy Good Life was born to help reduce suffering and amplify joy. That is my mission. And I know that profits follow joy, and it's just not what we've been taught. And so I'm really flipping the business paradigms on their head and saying, hey, let's boil this all the way down to what brings you more joy, love, and abundance in your life. And that's where the Juicy Good Life comes in. And I help women to their own version of it. It's not going to look like yours or mine, but we each have inside us a version of our Juicy Good Life. And that's what I'm here to help them have through their business growth.
Yes. Oh, that is such a powerful introduction to your company and what you stand for. And we're just going to get right into it today because, I think when we all start our businesses, there is some kind of joy, positive impact, life vision that we want to create. And in for more influence and impact, we are really talking to these multiple six and seven figure business owners. So let's talk about what that pain and struggle and burnout can start to look like for them as they start to reach those new heights of income, where they are bogged down, they're burned out, they're frustrated, they're suffering. What are some of those symptoms and some of those realities that they're experiencing in their lives before they come to you that even attract them to your work?
Well, I think what's unique about at least the women I work with, I help the golden hearted overgiver, Celia, and she is some of my $1 million business clients are still cleaning their own toilets in their offices. They have 3 branches and they're still on weekends or nights doing that because they don't want to ask anybody. They certainly don't want anyone to think that they're less than or more than, like there's a hierarchy, and they haven't fully owned their true worth to their company. And so that's one of the main hallmarks is you are doing $25 an hour tasks when you command $250, $300 an hour or more. And
Mm-hmm.
here you are, right? And so we do some simple math, right? Like, hey, what is the cost to your company? And I have a fun story. I literally a 7-figure CEO, and I said, hey, you can keep cleaning those toilets, but we did the math and it was an $1,800 time job that she was not valuing herself for. So I said, you can do it, but you have to write yourself a check from your company for $1,800. And she's like, oh no. I'm like, and turns out she had the ability then to bless somebody else's business. So we don't ask for help at that level to the extreme levels that we really need to
Mm-hmm.
stay out of burnout. We also start to have the nervous system reaction of having that kind of asset level, that kind of incoming cash, that new identity that we're almost afraid to say it. I know when I had that $1 million year that I'd worked for so long to hit, I almost freaked out more than when I had those really bad revenue years. It was not safe to fly in that rare air because you look around and there's nobody else. And then you start to think, am I bad and wrong for doing this? There's lack of role models. So you start to see the symptoms of, well, maybe I'll just shrink a little. Maybe I don't want to go to the next level because who's going to help me? And I certainly am cleaning toilets, or I'm still meal prepping or cleaning my own house. And what we don't do is receive. So you might be really good at creating revenue, but you don't know how to receive the amount of support that a CEO going to those heights really needs. And your health might take a hit because you're over caretaking a lot of your team. If you have a big team or a growing team, I found myself over caretaking my team. And I love that about me, but it doesn't last for long because pretty soon it might be a sneaky resentment that builds where you're like, hey, why am I still doing, for me, I was still doing my CEO's job as founder. And I started to do sneaky things, and I'll just tell on myself, like pay them more and still do the job because I didn't want all the responsibility back, right? So we start to over caretake, and it eats into our profits and it eats into our joy, our sleep. We start to accidentally, secretly resent our company or our team. And we can also fall into the trap of not, let's just say, raising our prices. We people please our clients sometimes. So these are things that I find are kind of unique to the female entrepreneur space. My husband had no problem with these similar things, right? He had a different challenge set, but the over caretaking, the not really comfy receiving support, and then that right-sized aligned pricing, I find to be some of the biggest places where when we hit that magical high 6 or 7 figures, there's just no mentors. That there are more and more now, but no mentors that, at least when I was looking, were down to earth. I saw the yacht cruise, right? Like the Miami mentors. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm a Midwest mom. And, yeah, I still would be the CEO cleaning my toilet if I hadn't gotten coaching on it, So those are some of the examples that I just see over and over again.
Yes, yes. And so we will definitely get into like the aligned mentors and the values driven business, because I think that's one of your superpowers. And I want to come back over here to all of those challenges that you exposed for these ladies. And I want to ask, like, is it related to cultural standards and gender identity standards? Like, what have you seen serves as the root core reasons for women feel like they have to show up and be all the things and do all the things? Because I'm definitely hearing some control freak in there, and also maybe some wounding. So what have you seen are some of the patterns that really feed into these types of behaviors?
Well, they come from something really revered, right? We've got a couple of things at play. A lot of my folks, and we attract a lot of who we are, right?
Yes.
A lot of them come from farm family backgrounds where hard work and putting in the most hours was the standard of excellence, right? And then maybe also not being paid well, or the suffering of that farm family that, you gave it all you had. And so we come from this lineage of this hard work is what's the real excellence. So being paid for our intellectual property, being paid for our ideas, our creativity, it's foreign to our family of origin, right? And so we still have mom and dad or grandpa and grandma's values speaking into us. And it feels so, I talk about living the highly judgeable life because having a cleaning lady, like how many of us are like, I got to clean before the cleaning lady comes, or the cleaning person, gender neutral. Worrying about judgment from others is rampant because of the old standards. And then a lot of the women I help are moms. Well, that goes back eons, right? The martyred mother who sacrifices all. And so we think about the things we've put on a pedestal, and it's no wonder our nervous system hates all of what we need to do as entrepreneurs to keep growing. It's receiving, asking for help, resting, like more rest than you ever think. So I talk about that highly judgeable life because it makes us smile, but it's real. Because if you're possibly being judged by someone in your family who worked themselves to near death, then you're probably doing it right. If they're judging you, you're doing it right. So soothe your nervous system. Ask yourself, do I want their life? If you do, take the advice from them. Take the feedback. If not, as Brene Brown says, if you're not in the arena, actively also getting your, you know what, kicked, I am not interested in your feedback. So we have all these old shoulds from yesteryear, and then the cultural conditioning is real. It is real. There's a lot of internalized patriarchy. There just is, right? We're working our way out of it. It's a new business paradigm, and we're just now coming into our own in it, I think, where rest is no longer judgeable like it used to be. Burnout's not a badge of honor. Now, even the medical institutions are recognizing burnout. So we're finally catching on that it's no longer sustainable. And that's what I'm really interested in, is helping women have sustainable success, and it requires a lot of getting through the fear of judgment.
Yes. And a big part of it is that self-judgment too, because I even know I have a cleaning person, and I will talk about having my house cleaned and to family members, and I'll think to myself, like, are they going to say something? Are they going to look at me weird? And it's not even a huge expense. And at the same time, I think about my physical body and how, like, if my cleaning person doesn't come and I would have to do all that and clean my house for that whole day, I would be out for a day after that just to recover physically.
Yes.
And so there's all those different reasons for us doing it, but we don't have to justify it. But it's amazing how these standards that, we learn online and we learn from our mentors and our coaches, but then the rest of our life and our, 3D world doesn't necessarily mirror those things. And so we have to really stand and honor our values and, what it is that we're being led to create. And that's where having a community, having a coach, who can guide you and show you is so powerful. So let's talk about that aligned mentorship and really connecting with a mentor that has similar values to you and maybe can help you create success in the way that you want to, because you see things differently than the Miami yacht kind of lifestyle that you just described.
Right. That's perfect for some people, right? So I needed someone who, it was really about the heartfelt connection. I'm a spiritual human, and so that's important to me. So as I've had many, many coaching experiences, mentorships, masterminds, and really we take something from everyone. But when we click and someone gets us, boy, can we just slingshot faster. Or if you get where they're coming from and you see that they're living out what they talk about and the results of their work, that's huge. I really push my own limits of what my self-judgment can handle in the best interest of truly being in my own breakthroughs that I promise my clients, right? And it's challenging every day, right? You showing up and living into what you embody. It's our own medicine first. But when we do that, or when we see a mentor that we're looking to partner with be in their own breakthrough, be aligned with what they're teaching, being willing to say, hey, I'm screwing it up every day too. That's so huge versus the rehearsed or even, overly polished, more empty situation where you're not resonating because the energy in which you hired them was they'll fix it, or now I'll know how, right? Versus the soul connection with a mentor. That's been the biggest thing. If somebody's listening and they're looking for that person that can mentor and coach them to the next level, check your energy in which you're hiring. What's the thought behind the hire? That will tell you how it's going to end up, right? I've hired plenty of people out of FOMO and scarcity, and then feel a little off the whole time. I get exactly what I came for, right? Because I learned
Mhm.
that lesson. But when it's a soul tug, like they're your person or that's your next step, that makes all the difference. And you'll know, like, do you feel an urgency? Like, I got to click and buy this now. That's probably a moment to say, pause and breathe. Is this a soul? Yes. So it is important to have an aligned match. And the people that get excited for yacht parties in Miami, I love that for them. And for me, I'm like pajamas on the dock all day, right? And my best fit clients are like, "Yes, please. How do I do that?"
Yes, and you
Yeah.
have done an amazing job building your brand around that. Kids jet skiing on the lake, eagles,
Yeah.
flowers in the garden, mushrooms on the ground. You have, capturing nature and, really, I mean, you do such an amazing job of really expressing your personal brand as a reflection of who you are and your values and what you stand for. And your clients come to you because of that and more, right? Obviously your business accolades and all of that you've achieved and done in your community. Sarah, you have a past as a news anchor, right? So you have like a big face in the community and beyond your community of people have followed your career through the years.
And you know what? It's so much more sustainable to just be ourselves.
Yes.
That I do geek out on a mushroom that's a fun color or shape. I love it when an eagle flies by. I'm like, it's just so much easier on our marketing
Yes.
to just be ourselves. It's like, this is way better. And that's coming from somebody who ran a marketing agency for, a decade almost. And I'm like, gosh, why do we make it so hard? It's really
Right.
just as easy as people will like what our people that are ideal clients will like what we like, right? They will be drawn to the eagle flyover, the kids on the tube, or whatever it is. And so I've just given myself wild permission to be super myself. And so
Yes.
the people who are like, nah, I'd rather be on a yacht in Miami, cool. There is a coach for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the whole not having to be polished and perfect. Because I know that I went through a phase, well, for a long time where I needed to be polished. I needed to show up a certain way. And I now call it the entrepreneur highlight reel. Just only show my best side. And that was conditioning, definitely from my ancestral lineage. You don't show up and you don't air out your laundry and all of those things. And what I found was when I showed up that way, that what was reflecting back to me wasn't what my spirit intended. I was getting back the opposite of what I wanted. But when I started to show up in full authenticity, truth, because I'm a nature lover too, and just showing all my spiritual side and all the different facets of who I am, suddenly things really started to feel better. And I started getting like a lot more engagement and community, and my network expanded. And so I know that as women business owners that are going to that multi 6 7 figure mark, what can happen is they can start to feel a lot of pressure and feel like they shouldn't show more of who they are and that they need to be more polished because the more money I make, the more luxury I need to be, right? I need to be on that yacht in Miami, or I need to be. So as business owners scale, how do you suggest that they really stay in alignment with those values? Because like you said before, they're reaching new heights that nobody has ever done. Like they're probably the first millionaire in their family. So how do they continue to honor that as they enter those phases of like not even recognizing who they are?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is wherever you go, there you are. So you loving and accepting you is going to be the easy button here. But I understand exactly what you're saying. I have a client who just, started hitting her $91,000 months. Now she hasn't changed at all because she's doing this work, right? She's in the literal mix of learning how to be actually more of herself. And she started at $20,000 months like 5 minutes ago, you guys. It's amazing. And she has taken herself to her team now. So what she has done so beautifully, and I like because she's a young female entrepreneur. She has a growing team, growing portfolio. She's diversifying all of the things, right? She has a service-based business where she could easily just stay in the stuckness of, I only have so many hours in the day. She's doing it amazing, scaling with beauty. She is now taking more and more of her vulnerable, real self to her team. And then it ripples out. They give themselves permission to stop putting on that front you talk about, because they don't need to posture and pretend they're somebody they're not, because their leader is saying, hey guys, I'm feeling kind of weird about this event we're going to. I'm feeling kind of scared, actually. And she's been incorporating some of the Dare to Lead work that I did with Brene Brown's work. And it's really rippling out into the most positive cultural building experience, which I think also becomes a challenge for a 7-figure entrepreneur. How do I build the culture that will keep growing, but also feel good to us? And the truth is, you being that absolute real leader, you don't have to be perfect. There is no such thing. Helps the bottom line, helps your team feel more relaxed and at ease and in their nervous system regulation, which makes everything work better. That's not the story we've been told, right? That's not 1982 business playbooks. Ask me how I know, because that's how I built my marketing agency. And I saw it. I'm like, this is not how I want to do business anymore. And you start to unwind from the old productivity measurements, and people become people again. And people who love their leader and love being themselves at work shine customer service, like ideal customer service moments. And so she's seeing that she went from $20,000 a month goals to $91,000 a month without trying. She's resting more, being more vulnerable about who she actually is with her team. And who she actually is a total rock star, right? But she'd never showed the other side. And that happened with another 7-figure CEO. She said this was the worst busy season that they had mentally for her. But the models she had coming up were, don't show any vulnerability, do not show weakness, right? And I said, what would it be like if you just shared with your team, who's also on the verge of cracking, that you also feel these feelings of stress? And she's like, well, we're not supposed to. I'm like, what if you just did? And she went into she called an emergency meeting, and she did it. And she's like, I was about to lose 2 team members to quitting, and they all just relaxed in their seats and said, thank you so much. We're so relieved. We thought you were Superwoman. And that's just not sustainable for your team either. So we think we have to be Superwoman. Your team's like, how does she do it? I don't belong here because I'm not Superwoman or Superman. The beauty is in this messy middle that we don't think operates a business well, but it really does, because then you have team help. They're invested more in you because they actually know who you are, not some version of the boss lady, right? Or the boss man. And it just makes everything work better. Now it's going to take some work. I highly recommend Dare to Lead for your team, right? I don't get paid to say that. I just highly recommend it. So it's a long answer to a shorter question, but being who you are truly is the leadership paradigm that we are needing to step into, or it's just not working anymore. It's just not working. Employees are like way different now. We've all changed. They're looking for a place that's real, a place they can feel at home. Well, how do you feel at home if your boss isn't, if your leader, if your owner isn't? So you being at home in your business is going to be gold. It's going to feel wrong. Your brain's going to tell you it's not going to work. Probably 75 other consultants will also be like, you can't do that. But if you feel drawn to that answer, try it. Because when we have an engaged team, everything goes smoother for everyone. So engagement comes with authenticity and realness, and love and connection and vulnerability.
So, yes. Oh my goodness. So much gold there, Sarah, and so much wisdom. And I love how you connected the personal brand, showing up as yourself, also with the team, showing up as yourself, showing up as you are, in all areas of the business. And that it's, what I heard is that there's this foundation that's created. And when they have that foundation to scale and grow from energetically as who they are, they can reach those new heights. And that is so powerful. So if you are wanting to, listener, create a business that's built around your values and who you are, I encourage you to reach out to Sarah. And Sarah, tell us how we can connect with you, learn more about the Juicy Good Life, and also your programs.
Oh, thank you. So I hang out most on Facebook. I call it my front porch. So the Juicy Good Life on Facebook is where you find most of me. That's where I'm in my PJs out in nature, right? And I like to say that's where you'll feel less alone. So I fully invite you to that. I also have a link that Celia can share with you to get one of my fabulous little freebies that I use every single day myself, and that will bring you into our email community as well. My programs, I have a couple that serve different levels of business growth. Should Free Six Figures is really for that woman who it might be your first or your next six figures that you're after. And it's a lot of what we talk about here is like literally coming back home to the joy and the truth of who you are. Some of the how of business. It's all of what I've learned in this fabulous training. So it's a training, business coaching every week, an incredible community of accountability combination. And I wish I would have had this when I started and when I was scaling. And then I have something wonderful coming up, which is called 2 Comma Mama. So, you know how we talked about there are few mentors when you hit that 7-figure level and you don't really know how to grow. And I see that as kind of a critical juncture in a female entrepreneur's life. So I have 2 Comma Mama coming out here in fall of 2023 to really support that 7-figure business owner who might still be feeling like she can't show up as herself, who might not know how to run her team at the next level, who's looking for a community that understands her, because a lot of times we put disclaimers on our incredible achievements when we hit that level. And we're like, well, I don't have millions anymore. Like we disclaimer things or put asterisks on things because it feels like you just want to not stand out like a sore thumb, but you're internally, let's be proud. My gosh, let's stat bust here. So 2 Comma Mamas coming up. It will be a mastermind and group coaching combination for women who have hit that rare air and are looking for others like them. And just to be in that safe zone where, as Celia remembers, I say the unapologetic success zone.
Yes.
My favorite places to play. And so that is coming up soon. So those are 2 places people can get some additional support.
Perfect. We'll definitely check out Sarah's offerings and her gift. We have that in the show notes and in the comments. And thank you again, Sarah, for your wisdom and your brilliance and your genius today. This was just a rich episode. We like to have a little bit of a plan, but really just go with the energy on these shows and see what unfolds. And thanks for being open and vulnerable and honest too, because I think people can really feel your heart. Our listeners can feel your heart and what you're all about. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for all you do for all of us.
You're welcome. So thanks everybody. This is Celia Faye Meisel with More Influence and Impact, and we will see you next time.